In a world filled with screens and distractions, we invite you to reconnect with the natural world around you. Welcome to Nature Bound, a podcast dedicated to unpacking the intrinsic bond between humans and nature. We'll uncover the benefits of spending time outdoors, including how a nature-centric lifestyle can improve your mental health, elevate your leadership skills, and unleash your creativity. And now here's your host, outdoor enthusiast, and renowned author of The 7 Principles of the Magic Rock, Emmanuel Rose.
Well, welcome to Nature Bound today. Got a chance to talk about fly fishing and the Truckee River out here in the divide between Nevada and California. And fly fishing was my first love, and I've been fly fishing for over about 50 years now, 50 years, and been all over, having a chance to fish salt and international locations. And my true love, though, is small stream fishing for wild trout, and having a chance to be remote from other humans and get into the zone of fish and nature, and a little bit of solitude. And that's why I like fishing with Jay, because Jay is he's a kindred spirit in terms of what he enjoys about being outside, and he's a true steward of both the rivers and the fish, and very knowledgeable fly fishing guide. So it's a real pleasure to have you here today, Jay, and talk again with you about fishing and whatever else we veer off into.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for having me back on your podcast. It means a lot to me to be able to speak with you today. And yeah, we are kindred spirits. I am a seeker of solitude, and that is a fact.
Yeah. Well, the Truckee River is, let's see, I've talked about it in some other podcasts about Pyramid Lake specifically, and the fact that it starts in Lake Tahoe, a majority of it, and then it runs through a couple of dams, I believe. Is that
yeah, so it starts in Tahoe. There it is dam released at the lake itself, and then it flows through the town of Truckee down through Reno, where it past Reno it encounters a couple of more dams on its way to Pyramid Lake. Most notably would be Derby Dam, and then there are 2 more dams on the reservation, Numaga Dam and Marble Bluff Dam. So there are some dams on it, but it is considered a freestone river. And,
interesting?
Most of my knowledge of the river is on the California side. I don't spend hardly any time on the Nevada side. I just haven't chosen to spend much time down there.
And there's a couple of tribs on that side too, isn't there? Are there some tributaries?
On the California side, yeah. So most notably would be the Little Truckee River. It comes in at the Boca area in a spot we call the Confluence. That would be the major tributary. Above there would be Trout Creek. Prosser Creek and Trout Creek would be the 2 other solid tributaries that come in from the town of Truckee. Above that, there's a few other small streams. And then below where the Little Truckee dumps in, there's a couple more small feeder streams before it hits Nevada that do add a little bit of water. Most notably, they add a lot of silt, especially water events due to forest fires going through 20 years ago.
Yeah, it takes a long time for those scars to get.
It does. It does, and especially when all the riparian habitat is gone, and there's nothing stopping sediment from getting into the river in that stretch. But
So as a freestone river, I guess what's the definition or the
So,
ontology of that freestone?
yeah, Freestone River would be described as a river that is not regulated by dams, which is kind of a misnomer for the Truckee because there are multiple dams that help regulate flows. The one out of the lake, and then Boca Reservoir, the dam there regulates flow. Prosser Creek Reservoir, the dam there can regulate some flow as well. But it's mostly snowmelt that feeds the rivers, and then the reservoirs downstream that help feed them.
And is there a pretty consistent water temperature all year round, or does it fluctuate too?
It fluctuates, and that's another notable thing with the Freestone River is the fluctuation in water temperatures. So right now, water temperatures are still cold due to we still just past runoff. There's still a little bit of runoff taking place. We're expecting, because Lake Tahoe is full and it's getting close to the legal limit now, that they're going to have to start dumping water from there. And that will be a top release. And so that water will be depending on, what kind of weather we've been having the last few days. It's been lovely, summer.
Yeah.
And I see that we're expecting temperatures up into the 90s by the end of next week. That will affect the temperature on the surface of Lake Tahoe. So if they start dumping the surface of Lake Tahoe, it will negatively impact the river. It'll be dumping warm water into a river that has really good cold temperatures right now.
And cold temperatures right now that in the 50s?
In the 50s, yeah. So trout prefer 55 to 58 degree water temperatures, and so the water temps in the low to mid 50s are just about ideal.
And then will that hot water they push off the top, will that trigger some bug hatches?
Well, yes, if the water temps come up, it should help with more of the bug hatches. As we head into June is known as a big bug month on the Truckee River. We have our 4 major hatches taking place. The green drakes, the pale morning duns, the golden stoneflies, 2, 3. What was the 4th one? There's another big bug of summer. I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Well, is it another stonefly or is there a cat?
No. Well, the yellow sallies are out and about. But yeah, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
Brain's not working.
No, that's all right.
So the water temp should help increase the hatches. It'll also help where the fish are. The warmer water temps, fish will start moving in greater numbers into the faster water, into the riffly water. We won't see them as much in their winter water areas, such as slow, deep pools. They're going to be where the food is. And so, and we experienced that this last weekend on the Middle Feather, where fish were tight up into the fast water.
Yeah.
Expecting the same thing to start taking place on the Truckee.
Now, out of those 4 bugs that hatch in June, are the green drakes the top of the food chain for the trout? Or
one would think they would be, but it seems like the PMD is what they really key in on. But the green drakes will definitely be available, and it's fun to watch the fish when they can't make up their mind. Oh, I'm going to eat a green drake this time. Oh, look, a PMD, I will eat that. And so you have opportunities to fish multiple flies and have a chance that they could eat either fly that you're fishing. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, I guess be fun.
You could throw the big green drake and then have a PMD trailer, I guess. Huh?
Yeah. That is a fun way to fish for them. Yeah. So those bugs will be showing up. We did have a very short-lived carpenter ant fall this year, a day or so. So the carpenter ants show up at the first 80-degree days that we have. And
interesting.
A lot of times when that happens, especially if the water flows are good, the fish are reckless. They eat them with reckless abandon. Unfortunately, I was out of town when it happened this year, and last year couldn't get to a lot of the places I like to fish when it happened. So maybe next year I'll get the ant.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's one of my favorite flies in the backcountry is being able to throw those ant patterns.
Oh yeah, they're fun, and I just love the way fish eat them with reckless abandon.
Yeah, that's cool. Well,
Yeah.
what is it about the Truckee that makes it a unique spot and makes it for you to want to earn most of your living on it?
Well, the Truckee is a pretty special river. It's, I mean, it's not pristine. There in the Sierra anymore. There's nothing that is pristine. There's evidence of man everywhere we go, but it's not an easy river to fish. So I think that poses some of the challenges. The size of the fish are another draw. In the summertime, we see a lot of 8 to 12 inchers, punctuated here and there by a decent fish, 18 to 20 inch. During the winter months, we'll see more of the bigger fish, and in the off seasons, when the water temps are cooler, days are shorter, those kind of things. But fish can get up to 25 plus inches, and so
Wow.
that is a real draw for a lot of people. With that said, it sees a lot of pressure. They see a lot of flies.
Hmm.
So your presentations have to be good. You have to get good drifts, good fly choices. And one common theme, especially if we're indicator nymphing on the Truckee, is add more weight. If you're not losing flies on the bottom on the Truckee indicator
Interesting.
nymphing, it's you're not getting the flies where they need to be.
Yeah.
But with that said, I do a lot of other stuff on the Truckee too, where dry dropper works really well throughout most of the season, and it's a very versatile way to fish. I think another draw too is the rugged nature of the river itself, especially once you get down below Hirschdale, down in the canyon section, Floriston and Farad, and down to the state line. It's rough and tumble down there. It's some hard wading. Access is challenging. The fishing can be really good because it doesn't see as many people down there. It still sees people. It's the Truckee. There's a freeway right next to it.
Right.
And there's lots of access. So it definitely sees a lot of anglers. So that definitely makes it a little more challenging. And I think that is one of the major draws is the challenge of it, because if you can get good and catch fish on the Truckee, you can go and fish trout anywhere in the country, more than likely the world, and have success.
Nice. I like that. I like it. So it's technical and it's pressured and
It is.
So there's a real accomplishment.
And to finish answering your question, why I spend so much time on there, there's a lot more business for me in the Truckee Tahoe area due to the tourist nature than there is on my other venues. So the Truckee is something that we have people coming to the Tahoe Truckee area year round, and
Sure.
and they come in good numbers, and so there's a little bit more opportunity for me to work over there.
What's the best time of the year if you could only make one trip on the Truckee? When would you recommend?
When you can go. So my canned answer, that is a question I get asked all the time. When is the best time? And I think a lot of people are looking for, hey, this day at this time, and you stand on this rock and you cast your fly here, and that'll be.
Yeah.
What I like to say is for people is when you have the opportunity to go. With that said, March and April can be excellent. March, we start seeing the first big bug of the year with the squallas. And so that can provide some excellent dry fly activity. And then there's Baetis and Baetis mayflies and midges around all the time. And then again, I really like June. Runoff is over. The days are warm. The water temps are still typically colder. The fish are active. The bug life is active. And so I really like June. When we get to August, August can be hit or miss. The water temps start coming up. They've been seeing anglers and boaters and dogs and people, and just they've been inundated all summer long. And so the fishing gets a little bit harder. And then again, once the water temps start to drop in early to mid-September, the fishing can get back on fire again. And at that time after Labor Day, the crowds start to thin out, and it can be a little bit more of a place to seek solitude than it is in the summertime.
Sure. Yeah. Well, what are some of your favorite memories with clients from the
Mm.
Truckee?
Mm. Oh, I would have to say one of my most favorite memories is my longtime client Clay having a 25 fish day on a fly that I call the Rusty Jig. He named it the Magic Fly. And I'll let him name it after a day like that.
Yeah,
And that's all we were fishing dry droppers, and that Rusty Jig caught fish, including a 25-inch rainbow that day.
nice.
It was just on fire. Clay could do no wrong, and it was just perfect. That's probably one of my all-time favorite memories was that
That's
day.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. But I've been guiding there for a long time now, so there's this is my 19th season on the river, and
Okay.
so there's a lot of memories. I've spent a lot of time with a lot of really great people, and it's been a lot of fun working the Truckee system.
What do you think? What would you suggest to somebody who wants to fly fish for the first time, wants to come to the Truckee? How would somebody like that prepare for a trip with you?
That's a great question. So yeah, preparation for that. Most of the time, well, I should say a lot of the time when folks are showing up and never fly fish before, they really don't know what to expect. They don't know what they're really getting into. I have conversations with them on the phone prior to the trip and sort of explain what the day will be like. Hey, we're going to meet such and such a place at 8 in the morning. We'll head to the river. We'll do all the paperwork, get that out of the way. We'll gear up. We'll walk to the river, and then the instruction will start. I teach basic casting instruction, talk about where where the fish are, where they're going to be hiding out, what their food sources are, how to get a good drift, um, just the real basics. And then I'll cut them loose, give them the basics, get them practicing, and then add elements as I feel that they're ready for those elements. One of the things I do share with my new clients is I'm going to give you a ton of information in a very short period of time, and I don't expect anybody to remember it all.
For
Uh,
sure.
there's just an incredible amount of information that has to be conveyed. And a lot of times it sounds like we're speaking a second language or Chinese or whatever you want to think of, a foreign language that you don't understand, because there's a lot of it that the nomenclature is different. And so, I walk them through that, and we practice, we start fishing, and then, as I like to say, if the fish gods are going to shine on us, we'll have some opportunities. One thing I can't guarantee with folks is that they'll catch fish, especially on the Truckee. What I can say is we'll have opportunities, and what each angler does with that opportunity will determine whether or not they get the joy of getting a fish in the net. Um, I can't make them fight the fish, but I can help coach them through it
Yeah.
and help with that. So that's basically for my beginner clients. That's basically how it goes. And just because the Truckee is a hard river to fish doesn't mean it's not a good place to learn. There's a lot that can be learned in a very technical, hard fishery,
For
and
sure.
and
Yeah.
it's not always technical and hard. There are times where the fishing's easy, especially like when the ants show up, or um, when the big bugs are out and the fish are crushing them with reckless abandon. The
Yeah.
fishing can be very good and very easy in those instances. But more often than not, if we if we land one fish, that's a good day. If we land 5 fish, look out.
Yeah.
We're writing home to mom about that one.
Yeah, well, that's great. I agree. You do pack a lot of information
Yeah.
in those in the trips I've taken with you.
Mhm.
One thing I do want you to list out is all the different techniques that you have, because you are probably one of the most varied guides that I've fished with technique wise.
Yes.
So, like,
So
give me the whole list.
I will, and I'll start off by the method that if somebody comes and fishes with me, they can expect to fish the most. That would be the dry dropper. I
Yeah,
find the dry dropper super versatile, and if a fish eats the big dry versus we're indicator nymphing and a fish eats the indicator, Well, if it eats the big dry, we can land it.
Right.
Funny aside, last year on the upper Little Truckee above Stampede, had a fish eat the client's indicator
Yeah.
and held on. We fought the fish for like 3 or 4 minutes before it opened its mouth and the indicator come directly at us. We both had to duck to get out of the way of it.
Oh, that is unbelievable. I had that same thing happen on the McLeod where, and that's when I stopped using an indicator and it went solely to the dry fly.
So getting back to the list, dry dropper is my all-time. That's usually my number one. Depending on conditions and what the fish are eating, indicator nymphing is always a go-to. It's not my most favorite. I don't like, well, I shouldn't say I don't like it because it is effective, but it's not my preferred method.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Dry fly, single dry flies. Sorry, I get a phone call. I got to hit that. Okay. Single dry flies that's the classic, presented in an upstream fashion to rising fish. That is like the ultimate in fly fishing. So I love doing that when we have opportunities to. The Truckee River is not really known for its dry fly fishing. We do get some opportunities at times, but most notably, it's a nymphing game. Then there's the tightline nymphing or European style nymphing. Can be a lot of fun, can be very effective, but it's not for everybody. It's one of those things where if you're really enjoying classic casting, overhead casting, or water load or roll casting, you really enjoy the cast, tightline nymphing is maybe not for you because there is some casting involved, but it's more of a lob and that type of thing in my experiences with it. Yeah. What it is, it's very effective. You get your flies because of the small diameter of the tippets that we use and the profiles of the flies with, heavier beads, getting the flies down quickly. It can be very effective. And so, and it's really taken over fly fishing in the last, 10, 15 years. And, there are people out there that's all they do because they want to catch as many darn fish as they can in a short period of time. And then the last method, and I do it both single and double-handed, would be swinging flies.
Nice.
Which is my favorite. If I have a chance to go swing flies, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to swing flies because I love the grab. And it comes for me. I know you yourself are a steelheader. And my love of swinging flies for trout comes from my love of swinging flies for steelhead. I don't get I haven't had the opportunities as much to go steelheading in the last few years. So I don't want my stuff to sit in the closet collecting dust. Right. So I take it out on the rivers. And I really enjoy swinging flies. The grab is incredible. And that is all about the casting and getting an aggressive fish to move for your fly. Yeah. And I really, that's my favorite without question.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So I what I've noticed is that you are able to switch around amongst all those various fly fishing techniques quite easily, both for yourself and for your clients. And so I appreciate that you're looking to get people into fish and getting into the way that they want to or can. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And, that I do enjoy that. And there is something to be said about being able to be versatile, being able to be running a heavy indicator rig and, oh, hey, look, flies are rising. Oh, so switch over, cast a lighter, set up dry fly, and having the ability to switch back and forth, and be versatile is it's going to provide more opportunities for people than somebody who just sticks with an indicator all day, every day, wherever they go.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all about people fishing what they enjoy fishing and the methods they enjoy fishing, but I'm also about helping people become more versatile because there are definitely a lot of different ways that we can fish.
Yeah. All right. So the Truckee's a year-round fishery.
Indeed.
All right. Good stuff. Yep. And then how do people get in touch with you if they want to get out and catch some big fish on the Truckee?
Well, that's a great question there because They can either reach me via phone, or they can look at my brand spanking new website, which I'm really excited.
Nice.
jclarkflyfishing.com. The new website went live 2 days ago. Has all my contact information there. Phone call, email, Instagram, Facebook, Messenger. Those are ways to get a hold of me to fish on the Truckee.
Well, I really appreciate your time this morning, Jay.
Yes,
Thanks for the conversation, and I'm looking forward to getting on a river with you again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to every opportunity I get to spend time on the water with you, Emmanuel, and I really do. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast today. It's always fun talking with you.
All right, thanks. Well, we'll get on one more time at least to talk about Pyramid Lake and about the secrets of the Pyramid Lake, and look forward to catching up with you when it slows down for you.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Jay.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Nature Bound. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Be sure to purchase your copy of The 7 Principles of the Magic Rock at emmanuelrose.com or on Amazon. We thank you again for joining us today, and remember to get nature bound.